Hey guys, a warm welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to share my honest experience with the Pixio PX249 Wave Blue 24-inch 240Hz gaming monitor, and I've been using this for a while now for both gaming and everyday use, so I've got a pretty clear idea of what it does well and where it falls a bit short. So first things first, this is a 24-inch Full HD monitor with a 240Hz refresh rate and a 1 millisecond response time, which basically means it's built for speed. If you play fast-paced games like FPS shooters, racing games, or anything competitive, this is where the monitor really starts to show its value. The jump from a standard 60Hz or even 144Hz to 240Hz is actually noticeable. Movements feel smoother, tracking enemies feels easier, and overall it just gives you that slightly faster reaction edge that matters in competitive gaming. What I personally liked right away is the fast IPS panel. Normally when people hear IPS, they think good colors but slower response, but this one manages to balance both pretty well. The colors look vibrant and clean, and the viewing angles are solid, so even if you're not sitting perfectly centered, the image still looks consistent. It's not some ultra high-end color-accurate display, but for gaming and general use, it looks really good. Now when it comes to performance in actual gameplay, this thing feels smooth. Like really smooth. The 240Hz refresh rate combined with adaptive sync means you don't get those annoying screen tearing issues when your frame rate fluctuates. Everything just feels fluid, especially in games where quick movement matters. I noticed less motion blur compared to lower refresh rate monitors, and aiming felt more responsive overall. The 1 millisecond response time also helps here. You don't see much ghosting or trailing behind moving objects, which is something cheaper monitors struggle with. It's not completely perfect in every scenario, especially in darker scenes, but for the price range, it's honestly impressive. Design-wise, this monitor has a very clean and modern look. The Wave series comes in different colors, and the blue version actually stands out if you want something different from the usual black setup. The bezels are pretty thin, which makes it look nice on a desk and also works well if you're planning a dual monitor setup. That said, the stand is pretty basic. You only get tilt adjustment, so no height or swivel options. If you're someone who cares about ergonomics, you might end up using a monitor arm. Thankfully it does support VESA mounting, so you're not stuck with the default stand forever. Another thing worth mentioning is the built-in speakers. They exist, which is nice, but don't expect anything amazing. They're fine for casual use like watching videos or quick gaming sessions, but if you actually care about sound quality, you're still going to want external speakers or headphones. Brightness and overall display quality are decent. It gets bright enough for normal indoor use, and the contrast is typical for an IPS panel. Blacks aren't super deep, which is expected, but the overall image still looks sharp and enjoyable. For a 1080p display at 24 inches, the pixel density is perfectly fine and everything looks clear without being too stretched. Now let's talk about the downsides because nothing is perfect. The biggest thing is that it's still a 1080p monitor. If you're someone who prefers higher resolution like 1440p, you might feel like it's a bit limited, especially for productivity tasks. But for competitive gaming, 1080p actually helps keep frame rates high, so it depends on what you prioritize. Another small issue is the lack of advanced stand adjustments like I mentioned earlier. Also, while the colors are good, they're not factory calibrated for professional work, so if you're into serious photo or video editing, this probably isn't your main display. Overall, I'd say this monitor is clearly aimed at gamers who want speed and smooth performance without spending a huge amount of money. It does exactly what it promises. You get a fast, responsive, smooth gaming experience, decent colors, a clean design, and enough features to make it a solid everyday monitor as well. If you're upgrading from a basic 60Hz or 75Hz display, this is going to feel like a massive improvement. Even coming from 144Hz, you'll still notice the difference if you play competitive games regularly. If you want to check the current price, click the link below for the best price. For what it offers, this monitor hits a really nice balance between performance and affordability, and it's definitely one of those products that makes gaming feel just a bit more satisfying every time you use it. That's it for my experience with the Pixio PX249 Wave.